Welcome to another episode of Blank Pages. Thank you for my page turners for turning in. I'm your host, Khalib Grant, and today we have a special guest. The only David Merritt is here today.
Baby, we back.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, check him out on the Jamaican episode. He was there for the first time, and now he's back again. It was so good that he couldn't stay away. He was just like texting me like, yo, I really need to come back on, son. Like, let me stop. I'm just lying.
That's exactly what happened.
But yeah, how you been?
I've been good, man. Definitely excited to be back. Just us two. Boys being boys. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
You and I.
Just the two of us. Shooting a podcast, just the guys. Sorry,
Wow.
Tony N.
Wow.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, sorry, Tony N.
You and I.
Yeah. If you guys didn't know already, this is my cousin. One of my favorite cousins. Practically raised. I can't say he raised me because I did have parents, but I did have parents. So just let everyone know that, and they did raise me. But yeah, he did have a strong hand in my, upbringing. But we're gonna open up today's podcast with, you guys already know, an icebreaker. All right, so we're gonna do blind ranking. I kind of explained it to you, but for those who don't know, basically I'm gonna say like a category, and he has to rank them without knowing what order or what's coming next. Now I know you into sports.
Yes, sir.
So rank, this rank out of 5. Your 1 being like your favorite,
Right.
5 being like, it could never be, played again, or I could never watch it again. Football.
2.
A 2. Okay. Tennis.
3.
3. Okay.
Let's swap that.
Soccer, American football.
Give me 4.
4. Wow, this is really going in order. Just want you to know. This is going order. Let's see. Golf.
5.
Cricket.
1.
I was gonna say basketball because I know that's your favorite, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna say cricket.
Too much of an alley-oop.
Yep, too much. It was too much.
Cricket.
Like I already know.
I don't even know how cricket works.
All right, let's try foods. All right, foods.
Add it to my Jamaican card.
I don't even know how cricket works. The scoring, I don't understand. The pitching, I don't understand. I believe one person even explained to me like you could hit the person with the ball
That's crazy.
while you're pitching, but I could be wrong. All right, let's try foods. Pizza.
Oh, number 1. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
I'll put that 3. Just to be safe.
Let's see. Chinese food.
Once upon a time. We'll put that 4.
4. Okay. Spaghetti.
Oh, yeah, 2.
2.
2.
All right.
Italian food, you got me.
Italian food is like set max.
Yeah, there's like most Italian foods are in my top.
Okay. And a good old sandwich. Better yet, the dollar sandwiches that we used to have. That was
Yeah, I'm cool at 5 for that.
okay.
It's a lifesaver, but
Okay.
not gourmet at all.
All right, your turn.
Think of a category. Let me behave myself. Okay. Game night games.
Okay.
Pictionary.
Put that as a 4.
Cranium.
You're gonna have to explain some of these game night
You
games.
don't know that one?
No.
All right, spades.
Oh, I don't know how to play spades. So that's gonna be a 5.
I don't know. The blacks is out there hearing this. I don't
Listen, my wife gets on me all the time. You don't know how to play spades? Listen, it wasn't something that I grew up on.
Yeah, right. It
So,
is black.
yeah.
It is more Black American than
Yeah.
spades. What I said, Pictionary, taboo.
It depends on who you play with, because there's some
Right.
people that you be like, bruh, I gave you a layup. You still didn't
Did
get
you even
it.
go to school? Right?
I'm gonna put it as a 1 because even those moments, I'm just like, it lets me know who's really smart and who's really not.
Right.
You know,
Uno.
that's like instant war. I'm gonna put that as a calm 3. I think I already said 4 or 5.
Yeah, I definitely had some moments over Uno.
Yeah, it's like
That went past the night.
yeah, like bang bang bang. Like
let me get one more. Let's just say charades.
yeah, that will have to then go at 2.
All right, cool.
And thinking about it now, definitely put Uno over charades. But yeah. Okay. So, to give you a brief background on David. Actually, David, give a brief background on yourself.
Background on myself. I am David. Married. Some people refer to me as D married. I'm just a person who's curious about different things. More today into personal growth, learning about myself, learning about other people. I'm into psychology and all the things. I'm a black man in therapy.
Yes. And for those who are watching, we're going to put his number right on the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
If you would like to call him, text him, bang his line. We're not doing that. We're not soliciting love out here.
I love the Lord as well.
Yes.
I love the Lord. I love Jesus.
Yes, that should have been
Be
said.
specific, because I don't know who y'all lords be. I love Jesus. Yes, you are.
Yeah. So today's podcast, we're speaking of like why words matter and focusing on the importance of intentional communication. I can say for both parties, we were very intentional of what we're doing. I don't find a lot of people as intentional or who can be intentional. And I can say for a fact, the person that we have on today's episode is definitely intentional. Like, he not doing anything if it don't have any type of sense. If it don't make sense to him, you will find him not doing it. But if it does, he will do it. So, yeah. And also, he kind of also brought this topic to the forefront. So, if anyone who's about to talk about this is, David. So to kick it off, what is intentional communication to you?
To me, I say intentional communication is practicing to carefully choose your words, choose your tone, and body language. Like, intentional communication encompasses everything, all 3 of those things. The goal in intentional communication is to make sure, I guess, you're communicating effectively. The person understands that you're being respectful, that the person understands what your intentions are exactly. And yeah.
For me, I do agree with your definition. When the talk was brought to me, I was thinking about straight off the back having like hard conversations.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you also said those definitions, because those are like the underlaying of having a great intentional conversation.
Right.
Because if you're about to have like a intentional conversation, that means you're honing on one specific thing.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 is not of a positive light. It's something that might be irking you or something that needs to be fixing. And anything that needs to be fixed, it needs to be handled correctly.
True.
So why do you think that is important?
I mean, I think it's important because with communication that is successful, we all have understanding. It preserves situations where people's feelings are hurt. It preserves situations where people receive something the wrong way. And respectfully to those who it applies to, people like to be offended. People do. People, I don't know what it is, but some people like to be offended and they lean into opportunities to be offended. So,
like the offensive card.
Yeah. So I think if more people are intentional about how they communicate, it decreases situations where people can become offended.
I think when you was explaining the definition, it also highlighted the importance. One thing that I can say is that even within my marriage, just because I wanted to have a real conversation of something that was important in me, like to me, don't mean that I could just come off any type of way.
Right.
And within your definition the first time, I liked how you said that it's coming correct with like the right tone.
Yeah.
The right words to say. Granted, you might be hurt.
Yeah.
But don't call anyone out their names in that type of manner. And I think when you're being intentional about the conversation, granted, yeah, you're picking a topic that you want to highlight on. But you also have to focus your intentionality on exactly how do I say this so the other person can get what I mean and not what I'm saying.
Right.
I think when you're saying like, people like to be offended, I think those people like to choose the words than the meaning of how the person is saying.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm upset because David said, I snore. Yeah, you upset because you're upset because someone found out that you snored. But you're not going behind it to when David also was telling you that, yeah, it's keeping me up at night. I'm unable to get some sleep. The next morning, I'm over here upset. But you're only upset that the fact that he told you that you snored and you're just like, I'm mad. I feel as though when you said like people like to be offended, I can't agree because it's like, but did you not hear what I said though? Like, and it's just like, yeah, but I heard X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but I ain't mean like that. And I feel like with intentional conversation, it opens that door because off the bat, in any relationship, just because I say something, don't mean that you're going to pick it up the way how I mean it off the bat.
That's very true.
I feel
That's very true.
I feel like
it's very true.
You got to like learn the person.
Yeah.
Because when you learn how the person may act, talk, or however they may carry themselves, you can understand,
Yeah.
Like
you have context to them as a person where maybe a person who doesn't know them can interpret something like this, but because you know them and because y'all been through certain situations, you could be like, okay, I might have heard this like that or it might have sounded like that, but because I know this person, I could kind of like tweak how I perceive it or just give him benefit of the doubt or give him grace in that situation.
I feel like that you see that a lot more with like best friends. Like you see best friends ratting on each other or like I have one best friend, like I'll straight up call like be like, yo, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Some people might hear you just call me stupid.
Right.
But she hears it as, no, the actions that I've done was stupid. But at the same time, I could say that to her, but there's no way I could say that to my wife.
Right. Yeah.
Because the relationship is different. Where now, for my wife, I have to be intentional. Granted, I might think that she did something stupid. Right. Or I might think that, an action might be stupid. By the way, baby, you are not stupid. I ain't calling you stupid at all. Just want to let everyone know she's smart as hell.
Albert Einstein who?
But it's like, even if I do something stupid, she won't come off and be like, yo, that was stupid.
Right.
It'll come off with a nice gesture like, hey, did you really think that through? And I'll be like, no. She'll be like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, with another different type of friendship, we could just have that banter. But at the same time, it's a different relationship.
Yeah, it's true.
Where now you can understand, oh, they weren't being intentional with that. And that's what I feel like intentional conversation, it matters because you end up learning the individual themselves.
Yeah.
Some people can handle spicy food and some people can't handle spicy food.
It's true.
You can't serve them both the same way. So, like, what part in your life, because I feel like for you to build up into intentional conversation, you kind of have to like go through the mud with that. Like, when in your life did you see it started to be important?
I guess probably just having romantic situations, to be honest. A couple of my close friendships, but I feel like it shows up more when you're like getting to know someone, not just as a person, but like, just on deeper levels than just getting to know a friend. So I think that's when it happened. And just like, I've always been big on semantics. Like, if you use a word wrong, I'm like, is that the word you meant? Like, is that? I just like to be clear. Like, is that when you say this word, this is the word you meant?
Facts.
Right?
A lot of people don't like that. Be like, why you got nitpicky?
They don't.
Why you got
Nitpicky
nitpick?
or-
It's not nitpick.
Get
Like,
folk hung up on words, and
I'm not.
I will concede to the fact that I might get hung up on words, but I also concede to the fact that sometimes people don't know what words mean. They don't, and they use them terribly.
Like, oh, you always do this all the time. For me, all the like
extremes, right?
Like I like
They're
to
dangerous.
differentiate, like almost, some, many. Like
Right.
for me, it's a flow.
And sometimes people don't like it. Like if you say, "I'll be in a little bit," what does a little bit mean? When you say a little, is that 5, 10 minutes? Like I'm like that. And, you know, some people
They be
but-
like, me too.
that's me, and I'm okay in that being me. But yeah, big on semantics, but I've learned that I can still be big on semantics, but also communicate effectively. As long as I understand as long as I know what the person's trying to communicate, even if they're not using the best words or even the correct words, as long as I know what you're trying to say, we could move on. Back to what you said about relationship, I think that there's a privilege that comes with the relationship with certain people.
True.
And I think that I've seen it where, even myself, where I won't say took it for granted, but maybe I felt entitled to, because in my head we have this relationship, that I should be able to say certain things, or you should know what I mean when I say certain
Expectations.
things. And I've gotten it back too, where it's like, well, you should know me, or you should know that this wasn't okay, or this was okay. And I guess I've just released that, and I'm like, okay, how can I best communicate with people just on a universal level, like regardless of our relationship? And I guess that's when, and just like reflecting on past relationships and people I've fallen out with and failed relationships, it's like, okay, how can I move forward in a way that I could have effective, conversations with people?
I think I love how you brought it to, like, the effectiveness of the relationship, of the communication within that relationship. I feel like the deeper your relationship is, the more things you don't say and the more things you expect. Like, for instance, you don't expect, my expectations for my wife is different from my expectations for my friends.
Right.
And I didn't see it through a clear vision till I started going through it in therapy. And one thing that I was challenged with, it was like I was holding people to higher expectations because of what I was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's the thing.
you're able to say that to me and I can take it, and I expect you to do the same.
Right.
Like, if I'm doing this and I expect you to do that, like, it was getting in the way. And for some of my friendships, I realized that I gave a little bit more expectation. Like, the level of expectation was lower, but for my wife, it was higher.
Yeah.
Like, she would say some things and I'll be hurt, like, because I'm not expecting you to say that.
Right.
And vice versa with her, she will be hurt by some of the things I say because she's not expecting me to come off like that or give her information like that.
Yeah.
And I realized when you have those unspoken expectations, it'd be a killer in any relationship. Married.
That could be a whole different topic episode.
I mean, you can stay on it, but
real talk.
I feel like if we're going to talk about intentional communication, you're going to have to relinquish your expectation.
Yeah.
Because if you are expecting this person to always be in this shiny light, they're not.
No.
If you expect them to come at you in a certain way and they're not, they're still not going to do it.
Right.
As much as you may expect it, if you don't say anything, you're really just playing a lose-lose game.
It's true. Yeah.
And I remember when my therapist, she was just like, you need to stop expecting things to happen and expect things that are going to go this way all the time for you because you're doing it. You should have an expectation of, if it comes, sure. But she said you got to take them for where they're at.
Right.
take them for where they're at and also take it for who they are. Now, to put myself in a, I guess you could say, hot seat. My wife, she's a little softer.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, not even one point, in the earliest of our relationship, I wasn't really trying to, accept it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, just toughen up. Like, it ain't that hard. But until I started to accept her for who she is and also where she's at.
Yeah.
I saw a blossom, like a flower blossom in front of me.
Wow.
Our communication, as little as it might be, like you was here the other day, we over here buying a TV.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I was going to touch on it, to be honest.
I was like, babe, can you come here real quick? And I was like, how do you feel about this purchase? A lot of men would be like, oh, nah, man, you simping. Like, buy it if you want to. And a lot of ladies would say the same thing about, if it was roles reverse. It's not me.
Right, yeah.
I would never want to get blindsided, i.e., nor my wife. So even if it's down to the littlest things, I can have now the expectation that I told you. So now I expect you to kind of know and somewhat perform better. So if I know that if David comes to me like, yo, bro, I hate when you call me a dog, but I could mean it in the best way of forms, and I continue to call him a dog, there's an issue.
Right. Because
he can now have the expectation to be like, nah, I told you that this hurts.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. And if he slaps me, he slaps me. I'm going to have to take that on the chin.
Only backhand, though.
You say you're going to touch on the TV thing?
Yeah, I just talking about effective communication. Why words matter. Like, I pointed out to you in real time.
Yeah.
So it was just like a beautiful thing just to see how you guys communicated around that thing. I'm just like, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, but I felt like you invited her and you made her opinion seem valuable, and it turned from like a you decision to a y'all decision. And I was like, wow, that's beautiful. Y'all cute. Like that was awesome. I told somebody about it too after I left. I'm like, yo, you know what I see, Khalid? Oh, it's a beautiful moment.
Oh, thank you. I'll be trying.
But yeah, just and just around the house, just seeing y'all interact through the day. I was here for a long time, y'all. After we recorded, I was here all day.
Yeah, David was here after hours. And guess what? We did not care. We loved it. We told David that he could come over anytime.
and I was low-key babysitting.
Facts. We even told him that, yo, if we ever need a Manny, I'm gonna hit him up. But it was, I can honestly say within that moment, I don't know what came over me. It was just like, all right, you about to buy this TV. Just call your wife over real quick. I was like, all right, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think that was more trained than it was an instinct.
Yeah.
I feel like when you start to involve people who are closer in your life into your space, it makes your space a little bit more peaceful because you're not the only one battling with everything.
Right.
But within the same time, it's like you're building up that person. I feel like it's like you're having a housewarming, and you're about to start decorating it. But instead of you decorating it your own way, you start allow people inside your living room. Like, what color do you think I should put the wall? Granted, you may not even choose a color that you may choose, but you might see it in a different way where the color yellow may not belong in the living room, but it might belong in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So by, implementing that, I'm very selective who I allow in my space as well. But like when it became, with my wife, that's where I felt like the urge, like you said, in more romantic relationships, because your expectation is so high that if you don't communicate your wants, your desires, your dislikes, you're just allowing someone into your space unaware of what you may like.
Right.
Just trying to juggle it on the spot. And that was more like, trained, because it wasn't in me. Granted, I want to involve you, but it was more like, no, I have to literally bring you in to be like, nah, this is what I may like, this is what I don't like.
Right.
I like it when touch my ear, but don't start plucking it. It don't make no sense. So in your romantic relationships, and you start to intentionally communicate, what are some of the things that you saw that was like a red flag? Because granted, intentional communication, I can effectively communicate to you, but then, like you said, people like to be offended. I feel like on the same right, people, as much as you may come down to their level or come at their level, say it in a nice way. If they vex and they still choose to be vexed, ain't nothing coming through. So like for me, an example, if I'm communicating with you and I'm telling you how I feel and you have little to no self-awareness and I'm coming and like I'm not a rando, like I'm talking to you, like we've been through it in the mud together.
Yeah.
And you still upset, to me that's a red flag. Because
I hear what you're saying now.
I understand that you're upset. I'm apologizing for what I'm saying. But if you have no type of self-awareness and you will stay upset, there's nothing more I can do. And I feel like a lot of people, when they get upset, they're expecting you to make them feel better. That's not how it really works.
Yeah, that's...
Sorry, my job, if I get you upset, my job is not to then make you feel better. My job is to then tell you how sorry I may or may not feel. It's a choice. It's a choice. I'm sorry. It's a choice. It's a good moral choice, but it's a choice nonetheless. So if I tell you I'm sorry and whatnot, and I'm working on changing, and I'm changing, and you still upset over what I did, that's lack of forgiveness. And I can't help you out there. I got to bow out.
Yeah, I mean, all you could do is keep doing things that show that you're sorry, but the person's going to stay mad. That's up to them. There's nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, to be honest, the last time I was in a serious relationship was a little while ago. And I don't think my communication was that great. I think earlier this year, I came across just like old emails I've sent, text messages.
By the way, for those who don't know what an email is, because we live in a time where they just DM each other, an email is electronic virtual message. You know, this is what we use to send people back and forth messages. Continue. This is for my young crowd.
The screenshots, all of the things. And yeah, I spent a lot of time being very critical of how I communicated. And sometimes I'm like, damn, I was a jerk. Like, and I knew, like, people have called me that, especially in real time. But like to see it in hindsight, and even to think that about myself, like, damn, I didn't have to. Like, so I mean, that's a part of why it's emphasized to me today, because I see how I could have been so much better in my past relationships. I mean, one thing I did always have was I was patient. So difficult people, I was always good with dealing with people who were difficult or very stubborn. And that was also one of my biggest what's the word? Biggest attributes when it came to like working, dealing with the public. I was like the guy to, like, you know, always stay cool when a customer came and cursed me out or
Yeah, I have
called me a slur or whatever the case is.
I've rarely see David like upset. And even when you are upset, you do be having like these like laughs. I'm just like, but bro, you not upset?
I could laugh in frustration, yeah.
Like, and I'll be like, yeah, that's some type of, you know, serial killer, you know, mentality. But I do have to praise you on your patience. So what is one, because you did highlight that you know, the way I used to communicate can be seen as a negative, and you was called a jerk. So what is one thing that you was called a jerk for?
I've been like kind of dismissive of people's feelings.
Okay.
Or just like, not even feelings. It could just be like something you're taking seriously and I just don't take it seriously. And yeah, probably like the top thing. And then conversation, when a conversation goes left, I just kind of like, whatever. I'll just say whatever. But not like rude. I'm not going to call you out your name, but I'm just like, I'm not taking it seriously. I'm just going to say whatever till you get tired of talking to me, and you're going to be upset, move on, and we'll be okay tomorrow.
For me, one of my negative way of communicating. If I felt like it made sense and you was not picking on the sense that it was making, okay, like I'm done talking to you.
Done talking. That's it.
Please stop talking, because you obviously are not smart enough to hold a conversation. That's how I always felt. I'm changing. I'm almost there to change, but I'm still changing. But I feel like when you have this type of, I guess for me, I can say when I had this demeanor of like in my brain as you talking, yo, you are really stupid. Like in my brain, while you like, do you even hear? Yo, we just discussed that, bro. Like, all right, whatever. Get up. Like, as soon as I start to change my mentality of give some grace, because one thing that you had that I am now building on is patience. So once the patience was like lacking, all right, okay, and it'll be like dismissive, like get out my face. Within that though, how were you aware of the way how you was negatively communicating? Because something had to happen, or where something had to like change for you to be like, maybe I should not be, as for me, dismissive and thinking that you're stupid while you're talking to me.
To be honest, it was never called out. So it took me being intentional about reflecting. So like I said, even when I was called a jerk, the part of me being a jerk was me not taking it seriously. So it's like,
you was
I'm
like
gonna
that
take
song.
it seriously if I don't take it
You're
serious.
a jerk. I know. You a jerk. I know. For me, I was called out on it. A little bit transparency. I feel like when people be like, what is marriage like? I was like, it's like someone, I think my wife says it too. It's like someone telling you, nope, that's wrong all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not someone telling you that, no, that's wrong all the time. It's because you allow this person into your deepest closet that you can't hide no skeletons.
Yeah.
So all the glamour, because I feel like when you get into a relationship, even in your fiance, depending how deep your relationship is, like the first date, you only want to see the best or show the best. But when you start to get married, and especially if you're in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, you can't hide nothing.
Nowhere to run.
So my wife actually called me out, and I was not practicing self-awareness or even acceptance. And I was just like, whatever. It escalated to the point where she called me out. My sister also was just like,
yeah.
And it was just like, seriously? Yes, seriously. And it was just like, I thought that I was doing a good job. Of course you do it when you were lacking self-awareness. But I thought I was doing a good job. And until I got called out on it, and until I start making intentional, because I feel like the strongest word about this whole entire thing is intentional.
Right.
The intention is that, and I've said this in previous podcasts, and I always say, I may not want to do it, but I'm willing to. And I feel like that's where intention comes from.
Right.
I may not want to deal with what I believe. It would be a stupid conversation. I may not want to deal with what I believe is a stupid mindset, or just basically a mindset that I don't agree with, but I'm willing to. And that will now becomes your want. I feel like even like the perfect example is like in Christianity. When our will is not on the will of God, then we start to do everything that we want to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And depending on what we want to do is it'll land us in either worse places than we were meant to be, or places where we don't even know how to handle.
And if the Holy Spirit just convicted you, lean into it and go pray. Pause, go pray. Yeah.
But I feel like when we start to shape our will around what God's will is for our life, it's not always going to be a want. I can tell y'all, at least 51% of the time, it won't be. At least 67% of the time, it won't be. But it's crazy. He only asks you for the minimum will, so he can show you that this is good for you.
Yeah.
And I realized once my will started to match up with what God's will is, my wants started to look like what his wants were for me, myself. And it was to the point where even my darkest desires, even where I wanted to, you know, act up, because I was so embedded into just doing, like, I may not want to do it, but I'm willing to try it.
Yeah.
And because I was always willing to try it once, willing to try it twice, I was just doing and doing. In that doing, the wants that I wanted that were kind of dark, it was just like, I don't want that no more for some odd reason. To make it make sense now for those who are not non-believers, in my marriage, I didn't want to go through a whole entire route of words to say in order to get to a good conversation. I just wanted to say it straight up.
Right.
Every time I said it straight up, we had a problem.
Yeah.
But the more time I took taking the long route, and the more time I took taking the long route, I'll take the long route any day instead of taking the short route, because I've seen that, yeah, I take the short route, but it don't have a lot of gains.
Yeah.
It don't have a lot of pleasure. It don't have a lot of gifts. But when I take the long route, I learn a lot more about you. I learn how to talk to you, what not to say. I learn how to vocalize myself. I know what tone to use. I know what body language to use. It's to the point where now the long way ain't that long no more.
Long.
I know shortcuts.
You start to notice the trees, like, oh, those are some nice trees.
It's a scenic route.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I'd rather do that.
Yeah. It builds connection as well.
So I feel like even though, because I don't want it to come off that, you know, we're perfect communicators.
Oh, no. God knows.
But I feel like good communicators are are people who are willing to continue to work on their communication skills. Always. Because even to this day, I still got to talk to my brain like, shut up. Yeah. It may not make sense to you, Negro, but calm it down. Like, come back. We coming back to this. All right. And it's like a constant, it's always a constant, I got to make it biblical. It's a constant dying to yourself.
Right.
Because the more that you are killing these horrible ways about you, the less it will come up. Yeah.
It spills into, but the more you do it, like you said, it feels easier over time. It feels more natural over time. I have my nieces staying with me, and my niece lied to me yesterday.
Ouch.
I asked her what she was doing. She was on the phone doing something like in the corner, like what you doing? Nothing. I said, what you doing? Playing the game. She was watching something on YouTube, like YouTube Kids, but I don't know. It was like the poo poo song. Like, what the hell is she watching? But yeah. I said, give me the phone. I put the phone down. And then she was supposed to eat. I said, we're gonna have a conversation later. Go eat. Cool. We had the conversation later. I said, I asked you a question and you didn't answer it with what was happening. What do you call that? She's like, I lied. I said, okay. You're not in trouble, but I want you to know that Uncle David doesn't like when you lie to me. It's very important to me that you tell me the truth when I ask you a question. It's not about you getting in trouble. Sometimes it could be for your safety. Sometimes it's important for me to know the answer to the question. So you're not in trouble this time, but I want you to know that if you do lie to me and I find out, Uncle David will not be happy. And then you might not be happy. But if I ask you a question and you tell me the truth, we'll be good. Is that clear? And she's a crybaby. So if she just thinks she getting in trouble, she'll start crying. So when she was able to be like, okay, sorry, Uncle. And then she walked away and she didn't cry. She was good. And I was like, okay, that means I did a good job at communicating with her. And and that's not what we've learned growing up. It's not so gentle when we don't do things the way that we're supposed to do. Had one more thing happen where I said something to a friend, and kind of like when you're excited about something and someone kind of gives you a reality check, but not like
in the way that
I'm trying to bring you down, like, oh, just consider this thing that's a matter of fact and consider this thing as a matter. Like, that's me. Like, I'm very like, pragmatic.
I want $1 million. Well, did you think about how much tax is
Right,
out of it?
like yeah, just like I was like, well, technically it's not $1 million because at the time you get $600, you technically you should invest this much if you want to live off it. I'm Mr. I could be Mr. Buzzkill. Like, I'm just being honest, I could be Mr. Buzzkill. So they explained why they didn't like, how I approached the conversation. I said, okay, cool. And I was like, maybe I think in the future I'd, keep certain comments to myself around this, around things that I didn't say that, but I said, maybe I keep comments to myself in the future. I said, I think. So they took that as I'm now deciding to
shut up.
Yeah, I'm just they kind of took it a little bit more extreme. Like, I'm just not going to ever talk and engage with them when it comes to certain things. So they reacted to that, and then things kind of went downhill. I took a beat and I said, you know what? I should explain to them my heart behind me making that comment, which was, I love when we engage about this, but I don't like the feeling. I don't like the idea of me killing your enthusiasm. And, I want you to feel comfortable talking about certain things without that being a thing. So that was my heart behind it. It doesn't mean I'm going to do that for every little thing. It just means that, I just want to be more mindful of it. I just want to be more careful when I have the opportunity to be careful. So when I explained that, it was like, oh, okay, like, I wish you said that the first, I
wish you said that.
So that was like a learning moment for me. Like, okay, I should think about these things, like, instead of just, telling somebody I'm going to react, let me tell them the heart behind the decision I'm making or the thing that I'm thinking about. Or even just say, I think that, but what do you think? Or even inviting them to give their opinion. So it's like when you learning how to intensely communicate, like somewhere down the line, be able to be like, say the thing and with all the right ways, and the person receives it exactly how I meant it and they respond appropriately, and then nobody gets mad and we all skip under the rainbow.
I like how you said somewhere down the line, because it gives me a sense that you don't expect it to happen like that.
It's definitely not. It's going to take a lot of practice. Definitely.
And I think that's where we kind of fail, is that we think that it's like a goal to reach, that as soon as we reach this finish line, everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows, where it's really
definitely not.
It's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's like you have to continually and consistently work on it to the point where, like you said, somewhere down the line, I could say this. Right. But even when you are now saying this, it doesn't mean that you hit the finish goal. It means that you still just got more ways to go.
Right.
It's like an athlete now hitting their new PR. Like, finally, I'm now able to bench 250. Yeah, when are you going to now? You're still trying to improve, no? So that 250 may not be enough sometimes. You may not have to do with 275 and 300. And I mean, if you want to go up, sure, be my guest. But I like how you said, like, the intentionality, and also it's going to take time. It's going to take practice. Also love the way how you gave grace, because I feel like a lot of people don't see that side of the intentional communication part.
Yeah.
Where you have to give grace in order for this to come off the right way.
Yeah.
If you start the blame game, if you start the I told you so. Like, for instance, your niece stole something. You had all right to be like, why you lie to me?
Yeah.
Or not lie, stole something. She lied to you. Why you lie to me? But you did it.
Yeah, like, time out. No iPad for the rest of the day.
Facts. You even told her, like, and I love how you be like, I feel like we could take a lot of keys from there. One, you gave space. A lot of people in a heated moment, if they would have gave space, they would have came back with just some clarity. Like, oh, I'm upset, but I'm now cooled off, where I can now choose these words to say. I've learned that even in my past, heated Khalid don't make no sense. As much as in that moment, I feel like I made all the sense. Why did you have to say that? You could have said it this way.
Right.
You should not have came that way. Your voice was way too loud. Your tone, your body is just a difference.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that taking a break, coming back, I'm now able to tell you what you did wrong, how it hurt me. It might still come off a little bit spicy, but it's not the way how it was about to be.
Yeah.
And until you gave grace, in that grace, you was able to express how you felt. In that grace, you was able to be like, this kind of hurt me. But in that grace, you allow that person to come back into the fold of your kindness and of your greatness and be like, by the way, please don't do this again. Mm-hmm. And she left without crying.
Right.
I mean, like, I feel like the idea of a perfect day for most men is peace. Rashad said it on the podcast once. He's just like, just one piece.
It's the truth.
And I feel like when you acknowledge
it's the truth, I've had this conversation with a couple people, and it was sparked from Pop the Balloon. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you see like a woman come out, you know, she say a couple words like pop, 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 pop. And it's like, I get it. It was one particular woman. She was very controversial. And I was just like, I get it. I liked her, but also I understood why the men saw how she communicated and popped their balloons, because she looked like a woman who might not be conducive to peace.
And I just want to make sure we touch on this, because there's a lot of women who believe that the ideal version of a man in a peaceful environment with a woman is a woman who says yes all the time, who doesn't have nothing to say, or who has no right to say anything. That's a lie.
I'm definitely not saying that.
I don't know how many times I got to say this, how many ways. Women hold power over men that they don't even know that is capable, even from biblical times. You give us something, we just gonna eat it.
Right.
Adam ate that apple without even asking questions on it.
Shout out to my boy King David.
So I feel like when we see the idea of peace, a right man is not going to see the idea of like, oh, you just need to shut up and say nothing. No, it's like, how are you coming towards me? How are you talking to me? How do you present yourself? If you're already out here and your voice sounds like you want to duke up, we may not be physically, out of fighting stance,
right?
But my demeanor is more like, why are you talking to me like this? Like, what is going on? Like, do I got to like dodge something? Like, what up? At the same time, it could be vice versa at the same time.
Yeah.
With a lot of women, they just want some type of peace. And because most men don't know how to effectively communicate their feelings the right way, we may come off like we about to box, and she might come off as, I'm scared. I don't even want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shutting down. And to be honest, the idea of peace is doing everything in your possibility to make sure that person is seen, felt, but also heard. Like, okay, I heard you. Now what do I need to do to make sure that you're okay?
Yeah.
Because, definitely. Like the lady or whoever told you the good news and you start giving them a bunch of facts. To you, you're now just helping them with their now new prize of $1 million. But to them, shut the heck up, David. I just want $1 million. Like, I don't care about investing. I don't care about taxing. All in my brain is a Bugatti, a mansion, and you're just like, you're going to blow through that million. But you're allowing them their space until you come back at a later time and be like, by the way, what you plan on doing with that mill?
Right. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I don't know. Well, I think you should invest it. It's a different conversation. It's a different scenario.
Or even just ask, would you like to know what I think you should do?
And sometimes they'd be like, no. You could be like,
respect.
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 Intentional communication is, I feel like if you're going to break down intentional communication, you also got to break down the unintentional things, like the things that we don't even see, like body language.
Yeah, body language.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off.
I don't want to sound big on.
I am big on body. Since you don't want to sound like it, I am big on body language. Because body language can say to me, you're either open to it or you're closed off to it. Your facial expression, the way how you may even have your arms rested, if you over here looking into space and I'm talking to you, I hate it if I'm having a serious conversation with you and you on your phone. How the hell are you? How the hell are you?
Oh, you just made some rise of me.
How are you?
That one?
Oh,
Yo, we can't have a serious conversation where we discussing a point of contention and not just
how you
and
paying
you just
attention?
scrolling away that drink. I gotta call on Jesus when that happens, yo. I just be like, yo, can you what are you doing? Can you just real quick just close that, please?
Facts. Like, I don't care if you look at me, fold your arms. Like, I think we just need a moment because our spirit has been inflamed like a Super Saiyan.
that one's the worst. I teased a friend the other day because they were talking, but like they was just doing a lot with their body. I was like, all right, just hold on 1 second. I didn't hear you. Your body was talking too loud. And then I went next time. And I held their arms down. I said, say it again. And we laughed at it. We were laughing together because they were trying to talk without using their body. I was, it's all right. Just relax, breathe.
Just bobbing.
Just talk. Go ahead. I'm listening. I can hear you now.
But like, yeah, I'm big on body language. Like, you could be saying something, but if your body language is saying something else, I'm more reading what you're trying to keep hidden. Like, if you're like, yo, like, it'd be the difference between like, yo, David, what the heck is wrong with you? Yo, David, what the heck? Like, you want to fight?
Right.
Like, what's up? So you're more focused. For me, the reason I'm big on body language, and even for myself, I try to like control some things, like stop rolling your eyes.
Yeah.
Like, don't make a fist while you're talking because a lot of people might think that you're trying to punch them. I am not that violent. I'm only violent if provoked and I need to save some people. But besides those two things, no, like, I'm not. But I realized, like, I used to stand like this talking until someone's like, why you look like a correction officer, a security guard? Like, it makes me think you already got a problem. And I'm like, but I do. But I'm listening to you. Well, not that type of problem. Like, we about to scrap. And I'm like, nah, I'm not. Okay. I'll put my hands in my pocket. But I feel like when it comes to like unintentional things, like your body language, it says a lot. Like,
yeah, it can, yeah.
It tells me more about what you're thinking in that moment and feeling. And granted, those are things I may want to know, but at the same time, you may not want to know that because you're trying to just get it off, just trying to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
If I fold my arms, you might be like, "Oh, you don't want to talk to me no more. I'm not gonna talk." No, I don't mean like that. I don't mean like that. Let me put my hand in my pocket. I feel like, yeah, I'm big on body language. Since David don't want to say it, I'm big on body language.
I don't sound big on it, but yeah, it can derail me if your body language is speaking too loudly. I have to like point it out, like, you just did something with your body. I didn't like it.
And I feel like that
I'm still listening. I'm not gonna like charge you with it, but like, I just want you to know you did it and I saw it and it's not helping.
Yeah, that leaves room for miscommunication. Because if you're saying one thing and you're meaning it in the right way, but you're over here bobbing left and right, I might just take you as you're a little too hyperactive or something and you might want to pop off. I don't know why we're always going to popping off, but that's like the simplest one. A lot of New Yorkers do it. Like,
that's trauma. That's trauma speaking. You'll never know somebody about to pop off.
So we talked about body language. We talked about importance of intentional communication. What is some benefits from having those rough conversations? Because we did speak on it about how part of intentional communication and doesn't really always come from a positive side. Like, I don't have to intentionally tell you that you're being great. That normally comes off easy.
Yeah.
It's when I have to intentionally come to you and be like, you're kind of messing up.
Yeah.
What are some goods or positive, or what good comes from that? With also all of the things that we've talked about, like your body language being correct, tone being correct?
I mean, whether the communication is about a point of contention or even something positive, one thing you could get from it is you minimize any chances of misunderstanding. Those conversations, it helps build trust, it helps build respect with the person that you're having a conversation with. It helps strengthens credibility. So I know now, okay, this person knows how to handle me, or this person knows how to, it could be compliment me. They know how to build me up. They know how to be gentle. They know how to, respect my feelings, even if they don't like something. I think generally it helps you be more empathetic. And it helps you manage emotional reactions. I think that's a big one. I think it's easy to react emotionally to undesirable situations. It helps you, just take a beat. Am I saying it the best way? And I believe that people should do like in the moment checks. Like just take a second. I don't know if there's like cues you could do. I mean, stuff I learned in therapy is like certain exercises to kind of bring mindfulness to what's going on around you, how you feel in your body. You could like tense up certain parts of your body and then release the tension. And then it kind of brings attention to where you might have just been already tense. It kind of recenters where you're at. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. For me, I like the way how when you have those tough conversations, implementing the right strategies, I feel like it propels whatever relationship that you're in way forward than beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Because like you said, now you understand the person. You know where they're coming from. And in any good relationship, you never want to have the other person hurt. Like I always want the best for you and from you. So that means I'm not about to do you any type of wrong intentionally.
Yeah.
So now if I now understand that my unintentional act of calling you a dog, like a previous example, and you don't like that, now my intentional act is not calling you a dog. I remember I had one friend, and she would explain to me how, just saying the word stupid. Like I remember her being like, she was like, "Khalib, you're so stupid." And I took that the wrong way. And that kind of like ripped our friendship. But because we also worked together, it was just like, it got to the point where it was just like, we had to have a meeting.
Yeah. And
it was like, yo, we're not talking, like, it's affecting work. Like, what's up? And I was just like, blah, 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 blah. But then the mention of, I was like, and also you called me stupid. And she's like, I don't mean it like that. She was like, Khalib, I even call my little brother stupid. But it's not something that I mean like you are stupid. It's just like whatever you just did is stupid. And that took like a good time for me to understand, like, all right, good. She didn't say it, but I remember one time I did something stupid. And she was like, Khalib, that's stupid. Oh, I'm so sorry. But at that time, I was just like, no, it's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
Because I know you don't mean me no harm.
Right.
I feel like when you don't have these intentional, hard conversations, you don't get to understand the person's true heart to if they mean you harm or not. Because if something sounds wrong, it could be your closest friend. You're going to get offended. And if you don't navigate that, like you said, have that in the moment conversation, then yeah, it could be fuddled. But at the same time, not a lot of people are ready for in the moment.
That's true.
Some people need time. And I've learned it is okay to give that person some time. Because as much, I agree with you. I do like in the moment checks. If you over here felt that I said something wrong and you feel some type of way, tell me right then and there so we can have that discussion about it. However, some people don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And some people can't. So they need that time to be like, let me take a few minutes back and forth. Let me take a break.
Right.
I need a day or two to get my emotions together so I could come and talk to you.
Yeah.
Those people are actually, I've learned, actually a little bit more nicer and I don't mean softer in a bad way. I mean like their heart is softer. They more have a humanitarian heart. Like for instance, my wife has a humanitarian heart. I'm working on mine still. But at the same time, I know for like some conflicts, we can't talk about it right then and there.
Yeah.
I might need to take a few days, not a few days, but we might need to take a few hours or a few days. But beforehand, it was like 4 days.
Wow.
But however, because of my stubbornness and me not having those moments of where I now accepted her, those 4 days prolonged into possibly a week. And until I accepted that, okay, you're not a person who can have a conversation right now, I can't take 4 days. I could possibly do 3. Those 3 days, now we have an issue. I'm not saying it's perfect. It ain't 4 days or 3.
Yeah.
It's within an hour or 2 or at the end of the day. I remember we had an issue and we got into like a little slight argument and I had to go to rehearsal. And this is when we have rehearsal on a Sunday. And I was just like, oh, she's still upset. Granted, it is kind of true, woman. We kind of do be getting over things a little bit quicker than y'all.
You come, hey, babe. Oh, you still mad?
So I was a little bit, over it to the point where I can still be hugging, kissing, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that energy from her.
Right.
And I thought she was still upset. All right, babe, I'm going to rehearsal, got dressed, put on my ring, like we still married. Put on a ring, put on a watch, walked out the door. Didn't give a kiss, didn't give a hug because I thought she just needed some alone time. Come back home. She's still a little bit vexed. But now she like, you didn't give me a hug or kiss when you left. And I'm just like, I thought that you was a little still upset with me. You didn't even want my presence or my air to be in your atmosphere. She was like, no, give me a hug and kiss now. She's still upset. But it's different. Because I decided to take that time and accept her for where she's at.
Yeah.
So I feel like, granted, yeah, you do have a lot of people who want to have that in-moment discussion. But on the flip side, you have a lot of people who don't want to have that.
Yeah,
but don't mean that they can't get to somewhere in the middle.
There's some people that don't even have a thought about it. That's
toxic.
That's those people.
Okay.
Those people, that's when it gets tough. Because if they're not even having the idea of how can I have this conversation the best way? How was my partner, brother, sister, mother seen? Am I understanding them for what they're trying to say? Are they understanding me for what I'm trying to say? Like, there are some people, I've learned that some people, they aren't thoughtful in that way. And they kind of just go with how conversations might go.
Yeah.
And then if you're dealing with one of those people, sometimes you have to do double work. You have to do double. And that's when it gets really hard.
We could definitely talk about those people for like the whole podcast. But however, I feel like once you're dealing with that type of person, it's like handling a reaction that you're not used to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it comes off like you don't care. And I'm just like, it makes me not want to. But like you say, you got to do the double work. You can definitely stay on this one. But yeah, I'm not. So how do you handle those reactions? Because it's handling the reactions that seem a little off. Like you just told someone, like for instance, what if your niece started crying right then and there? You ain't tell her that she was in trouble.
Right.
So how do you handle those reactions that you were not expecting or negative reactions?
I mean, with her, this is something a tactic I didn't pick up nowhere. I just, whatever. So when she cries, I determine based on what she's crying about, how long she has to cry.
Teach me. What?
If I think it's complete nonsense, I say, we not doing this.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to relax. I literally, hey Siri, timer for 30 seconds. I put the phone down next to her. I walk away. I wait for the time to go off. I come back. I say, are we okay now? And 9 times out of 10, she calms down. There are a few situations where she needs more time. I say, okay, I see that you haven't calmed down yet. Would you like more time? She goes, yes. Even sometimes I say, how much time do you need? She's like,
3 minutes.
she's 4 years old. So she said 5. She said 4. Whatever she feels like she needs. And I say, okay. Or if I think it's too long, I say, how about this? I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll let you relax. I'm going to come back. We'll try it again. And then usually by the second time, she's good. If it goes to the second time. By the second time, she's good.
Do you understand that you technically, let's say that you adapt that into an adult relationship. Now, granted, the time of thing.
I'm about to say, what does that look like?
I don't think you can put a time on and be like, listen, you got 30 seconds to get it over. No.
But it depends on why she cries. Sometimes I'm more firm, sometimes a little more gentle. It could be her sister. Her sister said something mean. All right, I see this shit upset. I'm going to let you could cry. Get it all out. No problem. I'm going to come back in 5 minutes. So depending on what it is,
So the adult version, because it's not with the timer. I just want to let you know. But
yeah.
I've seen it where, like, let's say I got upset about something.
Yeah.
And it's not nonsense, but it's nonsense in retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
My wife will be like, why are you upset? I'll explain why I'm upset. And then she'll explain reasons as to why my upsetness has no evidence behind it and how I may need to get over it. Oh, perfect examples. You know how, like, I don't know why this happens to more women than it is to men, but I have gone through it, so I kind of understand it. When you over here having a cheating dream, and
Never
you
cheated
upset,
in a dream.
and and you upset, and I remember when my wife got upset with me, I'm like, "Why are you upset?" And she got upset because she had a dream where I was doing something dirt, and I was just like, "Really?" And my first reaction to that, really, I didn't give her no time to get over it. I didn't give her like you gave 30 seconds. To me, it was nonsense. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give you some time. But even with that time I've given her, I was, how you doing, baby?
Yeah.
It might shrug me off a little bit. Fine.
You gonna get this love, girl.
You still gonna get this love. Because I ain't do nothing. I ain't guilty. I'm not over here worrying. No.
Right.
And I remember, like, we having a I was like, what? And I was just like, this is like the very first times. Why are you upset with me, baby? I'm not, it just, it made me feel this way, blah, blah. I was like, I'm sorry that it made you feel that way. I'm gonna have to talk to and now you can make fun of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Dream Khalid.
Facts, because Dream Khalid over here messing it up for reality Khalid. But now, I remember the other day she had like a weird dream, and she woke up and she was just like, stupid, and went right back to sleep. Woke up the next morning, I was not in trouble. Why? Because it got to the point where I've given you time for you to feel your emotions.
Yeah, and
within you feeling that emotions, you now can decipher, is this necessary or unnecessary?
Yeah. You didn't dismiss it.
That's where I was going to touch on, but
because dismissing it just it inflates everything. It does.
So what are some things that you can use when dealing with it, with this whole entire thing? Oh, wow. This whole entire thing when it comes to intentional communication. Because when you're dealing with somebody and you're trying to have an intentional conversation, and they may take it wrong, or they may take it right, or they may do everything, you can't control that. What do you control?
I was about to just hone in on that. Like, you cannot control the other person. And if you relinquish that thought and accept I can only control me. I can only do the best I can. And even the fact that not necessarily to be a perfectionist around communication, but understand that there might be a more effective way that you haven't considered yet. And sometimes you could find out a better way to communicate with the other person. I think asking another person for feedback. Okay, I see that disconnect happened. I see that I offended you. Is there a way that I can say it that in the future you want to take it this way? Or is there a way that I can say it that make you feel like my tone is calm? Or a way I can say it that makes you feel like I care? Because sometimes a person, they might not be receptive, but you don't know why they're not receptive. So yeah, I encourage people to inquire. Be curious. Be curious. Just be curious about all things. Be curious about how a person feels. Be curious about how they're receiving something. Be curious about what you can do to be better.
I feel like one thing someone can handle or control is their self-talk. And what I mean by self-talk, I mean like the conversation that goes on in your head.
You have with yourself, yeah.
If you're over here already thinking negatively about the conversation or how it may go, whatever you may say or may do is going to be of a negative action.
Yeah, you're going to project it right onto whatever you're trying to do.
So if you don't handle the self-talk that's in your head, or basically the inner voice or your inner demons, or however you want to put it.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right.
If you do not handle those, let's just put it as your inner self.
No, you're right.
Your outer self is going to just give off
You're right.
I don't know what you want to call it, bad vibes, negative aura, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to just be bleh and stank. And everything you now do is not going to be of even good quality. It's just going to be like, the more you think bad about a person, eventually that person going to be horrible in your eyes.
That's true.
No matter how much you may even want to pretend that they're not. And this could go from being a friendship all the way into marriage.
Yeah.
Because if I'm over here just like, I can't stand it when you just come inside this house. Hey, how you doing, David? And then someone be like, you want to invite David over? It's going to slip out.
Yeah.
Why you look like that? You don't like, oh, what's wrong? You don't like, oh, you don't like him? But you over here acting? No, don't act like it. Because
you don't like me? You don't like me? Nah, good.
But if you can handle that self-talk, now I can understand. Sometimes your self-talk can be correct. Like, this person does not understand self-awareness.
Yeah.
Those self-talks, understood. But it's of a positive mindset. You're not demeaning the person. You're not calling them anything out their names. You're over here taking what you said for face value. I can only control me. I can't control you.
Right.
So if you show me something where I'm like, time to go. Time to go. So handle your self-talk within yourself, the inner demon, your inner self, whatever angel, devil you have on whatever shoulder that you have. Mm-hmm. Handle it.
The thing I mentioned earlier, the scenario I mentioned earlier with me being, killing the enthusiasm. So what I didn't insert in the context was like, the conversation ended great. But when we spoke about it initially, it didn't go that smooth. And the issue was, I was initially frustrated. I didn't know the conversation was going to happen when it happened. And I was still kind of working with things. I arrived at the place where I'm just like, I should have said this like this. But I was dealing with other parts. I guess I was kind of feeling like, why was this a thing in the first place? Like,
why are you getting upset? Why?
Like, even though there was a better way for me to say it, I felt like the reaction still it wasn't warranted at the same time. Like, if you interpret it one way, like, I feel like you could have still interpreted it better, even if you didn't interpret it 100% as I intended it to. So I was dealing with the frustrations of that and just like feeling like conversations are just going to always happen like that because maybe the person isn't as mindful as I am about certain things. And I was wrong. Mm-hmm. I was humbled in the conversation. I let the person know. I said, yeah, when you started doing certain things, it disarmed me because I was frustrated about certain things, and like you showed me that like you know you're being mindful of certain things. So yeah, it humbled me, and two, yeah, I was like, damn, I should have definitely took some time. I should have definitely took some time to work some things out.
I think I touched on it before, but one thing that helped me was accepting the person for who they are and accepting the person for where they're at. I think the where they're at part helped me more than who they are, because I could definitely accept you for who you are, but some people, well, let me reframe. I have a mindset that you should be some at some level at this time of this age. And I realize that the older I get is the more people fail my expectation about the level of whatever you want to say it is, intellect, communication, right, whatever, is not at where I expect you to be.
Right.
So one thing that has made my self-talk way better than what it was is that I expected for where you're at. Oh, you're 45 and you still haven't been self-aware about your this and that? No problem. I've been, I don't know if it's, I've been blessed. I'm saying this very reluctantly. I feel like the middle child in my friends group, or in the people even within the people I know. I have older people, because I just want to let you know, David kind of ruined it for me. I didn't hang around people around my age. So I was hanging around people who were like 3, 4, 5 years older than me.
Right.
To the point where now in my close friend group, I'm normally the youngest one there. But however, I do have conversation with their friends, and they like at least 7, 5, 10 years plus dealing with stuff that they've been dealing with since they were 20. And I'm just like, you ain't get over that. You ain't, because I have not accepted them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still thinking that you should be here at this age and you should be there at this age, and your intellect should be way higher than it is where it's at now. Did you not go to school? It births a whole entire a tree of like, did you not go to school? How was your grades in school? What kind of GPA were you talking about? Are you, what's your degrees in life, bro? Like, have you not? And it's just like, just stop. Just accept them for where they're at. They don't know this, Khalid. And be fine with that. Because now that I can accept you for where you're, for who you are and where you're at, it makes me think of the DMX comment. Mm-hmm. If you see a snake, treat a snake the way how you would treat a snake. If you see a dog, treat the dog how you would see a dog.
Right.
In other words, if you know the snake is venomous, don't go over there and try to pet it and cuddle with it. You know it's going to bite you, so stay your distance. But if you know a dog is there and they're not going to bite you and you know you're going to cuddle with it, go ahead and go cuddle with it. Accept them for who they are and where they're at. Because now I can treat you the way how you are presenting yourself. Keep it at a high and by. Keep it at a how you doing. Keep it at how's your life. But there's levels to this. So that's something that helped me with my self-talk. From me going like, oh my God, this person is annoying. How can you make it so far in life and still have this mentality? Like, oh my, oh, okay, this is who you are. This is where you are. Understood. No self-talk, or minimum self-talk, I could say.
I think I landed on the idea that no one is right. I think people get entitled to the idea that, well, this is my point and I'm right in this point and this person's wrong in this point. And I think if you approach the conversation with that mentality, that it will likely not be effective. Mm-hmm. I've had conversations where I just say a thing and the person's like, you're right. And I'm like, wait, I didn't even make a point. I asked the question, what do you mean I'm right? It's because they have the idea that I'm trying to prove rightness by saying a thing. So on both sides, if you're a person that thinks you're right all the time, once you take that off, you can just have an effective conversation. If you're a person that thinks you're wrong, or somebody is trying to prove you wrong, then you can't honestly approach a conversation. So I think on either side of the spectrum, if you have that mentality that no one is right, we're trying to reach a common goal together. That you can have effective conversations.
You out here sounding better than most married men. I just want to let you know. I'm so serious.
Yo, to be honest, I'm not married, but I do watch a lot of couple content. I'm not in a serious relationship either, but yeah, I do watch a lot of. I love psychology. I mentioned it earlier. I love psychology stuff, and I love marriage content.
I think that's what basically marriage taught me, that where no one's right. Because I was one of those people who believed I was right all the time. If y'all didn't hear it, y'all gonna have to turn up the volume. I was one of those people who believed that, I'm right. Like, you definitely not right. Like, you definitely wrong.
I'm still growing.
Time out. I was both those people. Like, I was right and I'm wrong. I'm about to show you how right I am. Like, it was, you can get best of both worlds. Had one gun cocked and the other one holding, and just in case it was ready. And in marriage, I was basically this. And it was to the point where I had to put away the guns and hold up new ones, or just hold up a banner that just says, no one is right and no one is wrong.
Yeah. And
it got to a point where I kind of realized it because we was having a disagreement, and I was just like, we could disagree all the time, all day, and we both gonna be right. The question is, how do you now handle the disagreement?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's coming to a common goal.
Yeah.
Because now I am able to accept that I am wrong. And I can be right. What can I be right about? The only thing I can be right about is how I'm feeling. Don't say that is the right feeling.
Yeah.
But that's how I'm feeling right now. Babe, I'm feeling like this. I am sorry. When I heard that I'm sorry the first time, I was like, now I'm not saying she don't say I'm sorry, but it's basically like we was able to have a conversation about, Khalid, when you did this, it kind of made me feel that way. I didn't mean to do it that way. Technically, I'm right. At the same time, technically, you did it and you're wrong. Take accountability.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. So when I was able to now put down, I'm always right gun, back in the holster.
It disarms you.
And I'm like, I'm never wrong. I'm just like, I got nothing to shoot you with. I just got words to just say, that's not what I meant.
Acknowledgement and apologies can disarm people so fast. Especially, it's the truth. Acknowledgement is something that I've been really working on. Acknowledgement.
If you don't, just go.
Acknowledgement and apologies can disarm people so fast.
I'm throwing the notes away.
Especially when they have a reason to have an issue with you in return. When someone is like, I'm upset with you and I acknowledge how you feel and I still apologize. What you do after that? You gonna fight them after that? What you gonna do? What? You feel like an idiot trying to be mad after that.
Facts. Like it's hard to be mean, or it's hard to be mean and mad at a kind person. Like, have you ever met the kindest person on earth? And I don't know. It's like the kindest people that I've met could be also the clumsiest people. But at the same time, because you're so kind, I can't be upset. I'm like, it's like dogs. Dogs are nice, humble. They as soon as you come through the door, they run at you. How many times have you seen an owner with their dog like, Sparky, you chewed my shoe up again? Like, and they just like, they show that they're sorry and and you're just like, Yeah. It's like a child. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's just like, I can't be
like, what you gonna do after that?
You said I'm sorry. It's like, you acknowledge me. I feel like when you stop acknowledging the person, it's like I stop seeing you. I stop hearing you. You don't exist to me.
All right.
when you stop acknowledging, it's like, yeah, I don't see you. You just a figment of my imagination. But as soon as I can be able to be like, all right, I hear you, I'm sorry. Or I acknowledge that you feel that way, and I'm sorry that like, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Acknowledging someone, like you said, disarms a whole lot of guns, bombs, nuclear missiles, everything. Because now you just look stupid if you're like, well done.
Right.
Like, I already said, I'm sorry. Like, oh. It's like, I can't be mad at you. I'm mad at the situation that happened, but
Right.
it has moved from being mad at you
Right.
to the situation to where it's like, well, the situation had already been handled because you said I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had a customer, she crazy dogs. She was like, yo, I'm gonna burn down this post office. She called me a butt boy.
Oh, wow.
Tried to call me a bati. But she was like, she was like, little butt boy. That's when I had
Bati boy.
That's when I had my lock. So I don't know, maybe I looked feminine to her, even with a beard. I don't know. But she's nasty. I'm talking about nasty, Khalid. Nasty. I caught her outside of work one day. She came, we was closed, but I had the keys I locked up. She comes in, she's like, oh, I'm trying to check for my mail. I said, you know what time it is, we closed. What are you doing? I said, but it's cool. It's just me. She an old lady. She ain't gonna like do nothing crazy. Well, that's what I thought. So I let her in, but I'm talking to her. I said, why you so nasty to us? Oh, no, not us. Because they be nasty back. I don't be nasty to us. I was like, why you so nasty to me? She was like, I come here for my mail and it's never here and y'all messing around. I said, miss, every time you come here, I do my best to help you. I try to get answers. I try to everything. I said, I understand that it's very frustrating that you don't get your mail, and I'm sorry that you're going through this. Boom. Acknowledgement, apology. After that, she didn't even know what to say, but
Walls start coming in down. Like,
from that day, she's still nasty to everybody else. Let me be clear. But me, she see me the week after. She's like, "Oh, your hair is nice." I said, "Wow,
compliments.
Who is this?" And that's something I've learned. Just like how you respond to people, how you treat people, how you engage with people who are frustrated. It could really disarm them, son. It's a real thing. I've seen it. I've seen it with the worst of them, yo.
You know what's crazy? You know how like Jamaican stores have like a thing, like, when you go into a Jamaican store, like a restaurant, they may have like poor customer service and whatnot.
Right.
I have not experienced that most of the time.
Right.
Majority of the time is great customer service because as soon as I come up, what you want? What's up, moment? Bad day? I'm sorry. Let me get this, that, and this. By the time I'm done ordering, sir, you want anything else? Yeah, no problem. And it's different.
Yeah.
Janika goes inside. What you want? Why is she acting like that? It's customer service. And I'm just like, baby, it's fine. To the point where if we go to the Jamaican store, go order Khalid. Because I know we going to get something extra.
Right.
And it's just like,
it's just a little, you acknowledge them as a person. Like, how you doing today? You okay?
like, I see you. Like,
right.
I see you. You're upset. I'm sorry that you're upset. I'm sorry that,
right,
the birds pooped on your car to the point you can't even see outside the window. Like, just by saying I'm sorry, it allows a person to just, because someone actually understands. Granted, I may not understand, but you feel understood. And your demeanor, the way how you go about it is just totally different. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you are able to acknowledge people, able to see them where they're at, it causes their walls to come tumbling down and they're opening up a line of, you can actually just talk to me.
Right.
Like, for instance, granted, you had no control over the mail and you could put up facts. Like, you understand, like, we don't.
Like, it's not my fault. I can't do nothing about it.
Like, all you're doing is just, y'all just at a freaking Mexican standoff. Right. Guns at you. Like, put my gun in the holster. I'm sorry that you're going through your mail. Like, I'm sorry your mail not coming. And you're just like, now you just look like a vast murderer just pointing a gun at someone's head who's saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to throw my notes away because that was just like, bruh. All right, so we come to a close. So, what is one page out of your book? Because we talked a lot, like we've been ripping pages out your book. But what's one page out your book that you would give to our listeners? Dang, your book empty.
I was like, yeah, this is gonna sound really generic, but keep trying. Keep trying. It's intentional communication is not easy, and we covered so many aspects of it. With your tone, I know it's something a lot of men struggle with.
Yes,
especially with talking to women. Body language, I know a lot of women struggle with that.
I'll plead the fifth.
I didn't want to say that early. That's why when you said body language, I said,
I'll plead the fifth.
But yeah, it's not easy, and then if all three things is stuff that you got to work on, it's hard to just be mindful of everything at the same time. It might feel even overwhelming and frustrating to be like, oh, I got to do all of this just to get this point across. And sometimes the answer is yes. It just is what it is. If you want to be effective and intentional
and have peace,
you got to do the work. And sometimes it feels like a lot of this tough, but as Khalid said, the journey might feel like you're going around the whole world, but over time it gets easier. It becomes more natural, and to the point where even if you don't get it right, you're able to reflect and be like, okay, I didn't. Oh, this is what I could have did. Okay, next time. Or you could catch it mid-conversation. You know what? I said this earlier. Let me try it again. Or let's reel it back. You know what I mean? So just keep going. Just decide that you want to be better. You could even look up, we got the internet. How can I be a more intentional communicator? Boom. And just try a little bit every day. Get a little argument with somebody. Take some time to be like, okay, how can I approach this better? Let's see how it goes. If it don't go well, you got tape to work on. If it goes well, a win for the cookie jar. And that's it.
Yeah, I was about to touch on something, but we come to a close. Because I was to say, it's just the small things of like when you start to develop, it doesn't just transpire in your own relationships. It also transpire like at your work, at your job, different opportunities. People are now able to talk to you because you've been working on this little thing with this one person to the point where it's now you.
How you raise your kids.
I would say, I kind of repeated this already, but I feel like it's very important. Accept them for who they are and where they're at.
Yeah, I love that. I do.
Because once you're able to accept them for who they are, not saying that you should accept everything, no. But whatever you are able to accept it. Accept them for who they are.
Yeah.
Then also accept them for where they're at. Because it doesn't mean that because you expect them to be at a certain level, don't mean that they're going to be hitting that. And also, if you're just kill your expectations. Expectations is going to lead to a whole lot of complications. No. Communicate the things that you think they should know, because guess what? If they should know it, then they're gonna know it. If they know it, it's reaffirmed. And if they don't know, now you know. Go Red. But yeah, that's gonna be coming close to Blank Pages. This is our first one-on-one, just the two of us. Well, I like that.
Just the boys.
We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Prime Radio, iHeartRadio, and Apple. The links will be below. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you. See you guys later. Oh my God.